it's Darren Hunter here with
Dennis Yusuf.
We are from Inspired Growth Training. We are talking about today an article we've just released called How Many Managements Should a BDM Be Signing Up Per Month? Now, Dennis, we are getting inquiries regularly from people asking this very question.
It's a very common question that, whether it's the BDM that's asking me the question or a principal ringing up and saying, what should I be listing, or what should my BDMs or property managers listing? It's really, really common.
Now, I think it's good to know the people that we work with, the BDMs that we are coaching, typically we're seeing 15 plus. We certainly do have some that are doing 15 to 20. We've got a young lady that's doing between 10 and 15 a month, but her rents are like $4,500 a month plus. So, very good results for her. We've got several doing 20 to 30 new properties a month. We had one of our star BDMs do her
34
personal best last month, 34, and before she'd done 31 as a personal best. Now, Dennis, you have done 88 in 1 month. Absolutely crazy stuff. Now, in another video we talked, that caused a lot of problems.
We did, yeah.
That was obviously very extreme growth, which caused some hassles in the office. But let's just talk about the things that, a good, effective BDM should be doing 15 to 30 properties a month. Alrighty, so with that in mind, what are the things that stop a BDM from doing it? And here are 7 things. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. We could put other things in, but these are the main ones that we see when we're working with officers, working with teams, working with BDMs.
Possibly the 7 most common things.
7 most common. So the first one is the BDM is distracted actually managing properties. So they may actually have a small portfolio. Now, Dennis, I'm aware property management is incredibly intensive. It takes up a lot of mind energy, really does take up all of your focus. There's not much left for prospecting. Even if you're doing part-time property management, it's still taking up a full-time focus. It can really diminish your BDM results.
Yeah, it can. So, sometimes a lot of the principals, when we start training an office, they're not quite confident in that BDM role. And I'm going to rattle off Shoshana is a really good example from Macor Real Estate in Perth. So she used to manage 60 to 80 properties. Even I think it was 100 when we started training her as a BDM. And as we took 10 away, and then once we got her back to 10, we took 20 away. And then once we got her to 90, then we took another 20 away. And then eventually now she's got 0 properties, and 3 years in a row, Darren, she has doubled the numbers. So from what she's listed each time.
Doubled her sign-ups each month.
Yes.
Yeah, because she's now unrestrained, unrestricted, so she's done very well.
And that does come with her confidence and more training that she's had on board, but she's got less tasks. She's not doing routines. Sorry, Dennis, I couldn't prospect this week. I had 20 routines to do in 3 days, or whatever the case.
Now, the next restrainer is performing other roles. So they're also a department head. So they're running the department and they're also doing BDM as well. So just like the first, does take a distraction. You're caught up doing other tasks, other duties, which means less time to prospect. The third big restrainer that we see, the BDM is actually not a right fit for the role. Now, we know in most cases, not all cases, is that generally a good property manager doesn't, in general, make a good BDM, and the reverse is true as well, because there are 2 different types of people. Your property manager is your shepherd type person, salary safe, they're focused on process, focused on checklists, and that's what they're motivated by, is turning chaos back into control, where the BDM type person wants to wake up on a Monday morning and just kick their goals.
A hunter and a collector.
Yeah, correct. So you've got the shepherd and the hunter type person. The BDM really wants to hustle. So a lot of property managers don't do that. We probably see about 10% of property managers have successfully made the transition to a good BDM. What we do find also, a lot of the time, property managers that are BDMs, they generally aren't good at self-generating their leads. They just wait for the sales people to, spoon feed it or deliver it to their lap. And then when they get there, they're not good negotiators. So they're very quick to discount their fees.
Yeah, so I mean, the drive's really got to be there for, because one, the BDM's not actually generating extra work for them, and sometimes the property manager can have the mindset of, I've got to do another routine or I've got to do another ingoing. You really need to have that person that loves that drive to win the listing. There was nothing better than beating the rival agent to win the business. And if I can put it into a picture, when any property managers out there, you've got that really good tenant that you're chasing. They're an executive style tenant. That they're looking for properties with 3 or 4 other agencies, but you secure them. There's a buzz about that. Well, when you're chasing for winning the listing against another agent, that's just on another level altogether.
So number 4, and we actually saw this recently with a BDM. She was employed as a BDM, but then something happened to the property manager, and the BDM had to then move into the property management position, and then settling down that position, got caught up in that. In the end, that agency actually lost that BDM, but a BDM isn't able to prospect and really focus on new business out there, connecting business networks, all those sort of things, if they're in the property management department filling in for somebody else, or filling in for annual leave.
Yeah, well, I was going to say annual leave's a good one. Sometimes when I was in the BDM role, my leasing agent needed to have a week off, or was entitled to a week off, and I would fall into that leasing position. We got to a stage where I said, guys, I've got so many leads going on, and then we'd have someone else filling in so that I could still do that prospecting and looking after and following up those clients.
We've also seen bosses who don't value the BDM position and reluctantly put it on. And then when a position comes up, they want to take the BDM out of that role, stall that pipeline that they've got building, and put them in somewhere else because they really don't want to be investing in the BDM position in the first place. So, a lack of priority on that position can be an issue too. The next one is not having BDMs on the right incentive or commission package, Dennis. Tell us more on that one.
So most BDMs, BDM's like a salesperson. We could have actually said this a couple of tips ago. They've got that sales focused mind. They're driven, whether it's for income or whatever. But, if you have an incentive in there for a salesperson to refer business back to the property management department, you're going to get more leads coming into your property management department because a salesperson has those incentives. Well, you need to do the same thing for your property manager that is doing the BDM role. For example, you could have a system, Darren, where if it's a self-generated lead, they get a higher bonus than what it is if it's an office-generated lead. Well, if that's the case, your BDM is going to be a lot more proactive in chasing for more business rather than waiting for those phones to come in.
Yep. All right, well, let's talk about the next restrainer is a lack of accountability and coaching. So what have you seen there, Dennis?
Well, a really good example is earlier in the year, Darren, when we were away for 3 weeks doing training and I wasn't able to train my BDMs. Their numbers went down because they fell into the task of, I'm not speaking to Dennis this week, so I'll just do this. And then all of a sudden I'm on the phone chasing him, I didn't do it. It's like your children, if you stopped asking your kids to clean their room, could you imagine how messy their room's going to be? Well, a BDM's the same. You've got to give them certain tasks. I mean, I'm covering 20 tasks at a conference, one of my presentations I'm doing, and that's just 20 tasks that I put in place for BDMs. And my job is to meet with them weekly to ensure they do it. And they know, they even say to me, I feel, Dennis, I can hear you on my shoulder asking for the business or asking for a Google review or whatever it is. That you're going to do the job if you've got someone chasing you to do it. It's like your boss saying, how many listings have you got? You feel guilty, so you chase and get more listings.
Now, the last restraint is interesting because you could have the right person for the role, they could be getting the right accountability, they could be full-time BDM focused, but they're not working the right strategies, Dennis. So, how important is it that we've got to be working the right strategies in that marketplace?
Well, every marketplace has got their own strategy that works. So, your job is to work out and find out where the leads are coming into the business. A lot of people think that it's all about prospecting. Sometimes it's about funneling and catching those leads that are in your office. So, identify the blockage in the leads to start with, and then, if 80% of your business is coming from your sales team, certainly focus on those areas, and then you can touch on the other ones. But you've got to be like an octopus. You've got to have, pipelines coming from everywhere.
Yeah. So I think, we've covered some good points there. Hopefully that's helped you to understand the restrainers that stop a good BDM, getting that 15 to 30 new managements a month, obviously once they get that pipeline working. So
absolutely.
I think we're all done. We're actually live at the Novotel Hotel on Darling Harbour in Sydney. So we've just been able to thank the hotel for giving us this little room here. Probably the lighting's not the best, but hopefully you got something out of that, guys. And look, if you have any queries, get in contact with us. Office@inspiredgrowthtraining.com. Take care.
Thank you very much.